This is my first tip for you. My tip 1 is that you do not have to connect all the houses to your grid. Businesses initiate a call for a ride, and as long as there is enough cars on the grid and enough houses connected to fulfill the current need, do not waste road tiles to connect unnecessary houses. The current need for rides to and from a business you can establish by looking at the number of pins located on the respective business. It is better to save road tiles as much as possible, especially since later in the game you will never have enough of them to make all the connections to the grid that you need. Now let's move on to tip number 2. This is my number 2 tip for you. Building road tiles diagonally instead at right angles, whenever possible, saves valuable tiles. In this example, we not only save 3 road tiles by building diagonally, but fewer road tiles to travel also means the cars will get to their destination much quicker. Road tiles are the most valuable commodity that you have in this game. Especially towards the end of the game, you will never have enough of them. Use them as sparingly as you possibly can. Placing roads diagonally whenever you can will help you with this. Now let's move to tip number 3. Now follows my tip number 3. My tip number 3 concerns the weekly choices that you have at the end of every week on a Sunday night. The choices are completely random and consist of road tiles, roundabouts, or traffic circles, bridges or tunnels and, of course, motorways. My choice would always be, if available, motorways over anything else. Traffic circles are usually a good choice. So are bridges if you are on a map with lots of rivers. Same goes for tunnels if you have a lot of mountains. But I never ever choose traffic lights. I find they are the least useful thing in this game. Traffic lights do not seem to control the flow of traffic at all, but seem to be a hindrance whenever used. Let's move to my next tip. Here is my tip number 4 for you. My tip number 4 is all about color segregation. Especially in the early game, this helps a lot, but can also prove very useful as you progress and your traffic starts to build up. As you can see in this example, I try and keep the red and yellow cars completely separate from each other. Okay, the light blues are a little bit tricky now, but fortunately I have a spare bridge and can keep them also complete separate from the reds and the yellows. Another red business on the other side of the river. This is still no problem, since I can connect this red business also to a separate red road system. Don't forget, nothing is set in stone. You can change, delete and reroute roads at any time. Okay, now we do have a problem. The new blue business at the top left is located far away from the blue houses on the top right, and I do not have enough road tiles or even a motorway to connect them efficiently. Here I have no choice but to combine two colors, in this case with one of the red road systems. But as soon as I have a motorway available, I shall separate these two colors again. My tip number 4 is probably the most important one for me, except never to choose traffic lights, of course. And now on to tip 5. Okay, here is my last and final tip for you today. My final tip is all about avoiding crossroads whenever possible. It is always better to use slip roads instead. In this example I show you what I mean. This is a typical crossroad. And this is an example of two slip roads acting as one crossroad. Traffic will always move much smoother using slip roads instead of a four-way crossing. Watch this game sequence and it will become apparent what exactly I mean by this. To demonstrate my point, I will intentionally cross the blue road system with the red one using a common crossroads. Watch what happens when traffic builds up somewhat at this crossroad. As you can see, cars will always slow down when approaching a crossroad regardless if there is oncoming traffic or not. Now if we delete the crossroad and replace it with two separate slip roads, watch what happens then. As you can clearly see, cars will rarely slow down but will smoothly slip in with the other traffic. Slip roads are our friend and almost as useful in combating traffic jams as roundabouts are. But let's be clear about this, whenever you need to cross roads with other road, a roundabout would always be best, but in the absence of one, try and use slip roads. This will help your traffic flow immensely. This concludes my 5 best tips for Mini Motorway. I hope you enjoyed these and they prove helpful to your gameplay in order to achieve the next high score. As I leave you to watch the rest of this game sequence in peace and quiet, I just want to thank you for watching. Feel free to comment, and of course I would be very grateful if you would subscribe to the Incessant Gamer channel. Have a great day.
Hadi polis.
Devlet sürü polisleri akşamlığı bizde hatta tasarı imkanı gibi. Devletimiz yetecek.